everyone, and welcome to some AOR GT3 highlights. This time for the third race of the season at Brands Hatch. As you can see, we're in a wet qualifying session here, and which means a bit of a challenge this time out. Not a dry race, at all. It's going to be a night race in the wet conditions, and we're here in qualifying in the wet conditions as well. So, what we learned in practice was that we had to go out quite quickly, really early, set actually a good time in, because it seemed that the track most of the time the pattern was that at the beginning of the session the track was at its best, and then it would get wetter and wetter and wetter because it was set on the rain setting, which basically means where the rain would have a variation of rain throughout the session. So it'd be heavy some places, lighter in others, which means that the track would be different, or every single lap you go around would be different. So we're always learning here, we're sort of learning where the pedals were in this sort of outlap, just trying to see where the pedals were so we know what areas we can attack and what we can't attack. And that was really fun. I think the race setting is really exciting because actually it's different every lap. It's a different track almost every lap. So it was mega important for me to get sort of out first. I was behind my teammate XB1, who's currently ahead of us. And generally the sort of consensus was that the person who was leading, basically the person who was first out in qualifying, would pretty much get pole because of the best lap. So here we're just trying to prepare as much as we can and push as hard as we can, and we've seen the next lap. The next lap is this lap we're going on to now is the fastest lap of our session. So this is it. This is the only lap we do in a session. It's as fast as we can go, and you can see how the traction is throughout the whole session. So, and a little bit of understeer for the last corner now, as we come to the line now, and we've got a bit of traffic in front of us as looking at pit lane. And this does actually affect our lap pick time. We come out the pit lane, someone's picking out the pit lane. I think it's actually last suspect, and he's on the apex, and I couldn't take as much speed through that corner as much as I liked because he was there. So that kind of impeded me a little bit slightly. I wasn't happy about that, I'll be honest. But I know how difficult it is to get out of the way there, because if you come out the pit lane, you don't really have much control over where you come out really and how you can get out of turn one. So you got pedals on the inside there, a little bit of a slide there. But as I said, that kind of impeded my lap, and I lost a good 6/10 in that turn one. So yeah, well, at least 4/10. 6/10 is a bit of an exaggeration, more like 4/10, and that was just, I was very upset with that. So it's a bit of time there. As now we're heading down here, the straight here, and you see our teammate just ahead of us, and he's doing really well so far. So we're heading to this sort of fast right-hander now in third gear. It used to use 4, but third seemed to be better in terms of doing it in traction at the corner, and at fourth now. Triple section here down the third gear. Here, trying to be as crisp as you can, and getting lots of understeer now. And here's where the track changed. From the previous lap in the outlap, it was completely different. It was much more grippy, and I was understeering everywhere. I mean, my teammate was also complaining about the same thing. He had the same issue. And here, absolute understeer. Couldn't hit the apex, running it wide onto the grass. So at least 2/10 there lost as well. So that's a lot of time lost. Last corner now, down in the third gear here, flicking it in, and again, being patient with the throttle to get the car just gripping up. We're coming to the line now. Kieran is a 28.7 is it? And then across the line we come, it's 29.4. So a lot of time lost on that lap, particularly at turn one, and particularly in the last sector. And arguably we could have matched him, I think. It's not wrong to say that. But there you go, he took pole. And once again, like he did in Algarve, obviously we didn't have the pad issues that we had in Algarve, luckily, and I made sure of that by switching off my controller several times during the session, so I didn't actually have the issues that I had in Algarve where I couldn't even qualify properly. So luckily we had a fair shot at it, and now here for the race, as both us and me and Kieran, my teammate, both the WRT boys, should we say, or the EBR boys, on the front row of the grid as we lead the pack away for this sort of formation lap. And hopefully we can have a good race here. I knew this probably was going to be my weakest track of the season in terms of just like the way it is. I'm not very good at Brands Hatch. It's not my favourite circuit, so I thought that this could be my weakest track, as we're just ready to go right now. And I think Kieran's gone now. He's gone already, and we follow with him. And we're in his slipstream already, and here we go. We're going to go to the inside here. I'm going to go on the inside turn one, which is not very easy. The pedals are on the inside too. I'm going to go on the inside. We legitimately make contact there. We're on the apex, and we get on the inside. He's still on the outside. We're battling away between me and him. And now I'm going to be on the inside once again for this one. He tries squeezing us over a little bit. And there you go. That's the move done. We're into P1 already. Very aggressive at the start. In some ways, obviously, as I'm the championship leader, I didn't have to really risk that. But for me, I wanted to get ahead because, I felt that in some ways, if I can control the race, perhaps I could try and win it, because I knew around here, the overtaking opportunities, there's not many, there's not many overtaking opportunities. But this corner here, I really struggled at. Always, all the time, I had understeer through there. I don't know if it's a thing, I don't know if it's a thing of the pad, it could be, or maybe it's my line was pretty poor, who knows. But I always struggle through that corner, I'm just trying to build up, try to get the tyres into the right working window, and just trying to get some momentum going, because that's the most important thing in these conditions. Is once you get into sort of the momentum zone, you can keep going, being more persistent. It kind of all falls into place, and you can just sort of keep going and going and going. And the main thing for me, just going wide there, and I managed to save it and not actually spin there. The track, every lap changed all the time, and that is, I think it's really fun actually, because obviously you got settings like rain, heavy rain, light rain, and the rain setting, again, as I said earlier, it changes, and you look at that last corner, it's understeering everywhere, and because you had some puddles, you have little puddles in the middle of the circuit, and that would throw you off wide, so it's just really fun, and I think it's quite makes it more of a challenge in some senses. But now we're just trying to take as hard as we can, try and break away from our teammate. But he was looking really quick. He was quick in qualifying. I knew this was going to be more his track. I know EB Hurricanes, loved this track. He loves this track a lot, particularly in the dry conditions. He's pretty hard to beat, as we saw in sort of Tora. He was really quick in Tora, and I couldn't really match. Obviously, I was in a little bit beef for Tora, so I knew how quick he was going to be, and it was important for me to think about the championship as well, in a sense, and I wanted to win this race, because if I could win this race, I could, in my mind, it was quite important to win, and I felt I was able to just try and just push as hard as I could, and I was. Kieran really put me on my toes and really made me push all race. I was pushing hard every single lap, because I couldn't make a mistake. If you make a mistake on this game or in these conditions, you lose complete momentum. And that's the worst thing you can do. And for me, it was important to just trying to keep momentum up, keep focused, and keep driving. And that's what I want to do every single race. Because some championship leaders, I mean, I don't want to take the eye off the ball. That is the most important thing. If I take the eye off the ball, it kind of goes. And I got to keep pushing hard every single week to try and make sure that I'm at the best pace every single track. Because I got Kieran, who's really quick as a teammate, and he's been unlucky, and I know how quick he is. So it's going to be a tough rest of the season. Got 3 more races after this, but we're continuing on here. That's how fast I was raced at 31.150, which wasn't too bad, and that was the only fast lap of the race we could do, because the track just got worse and worse. It was different in other places, and we're skipping on here forward. And here again, Kieran was right on me all the way through, just pushing me to the limit. And I was pushing really hard to make sure I could stay in front of him. As I said, overtaking opportunities around here are very scarce. You don't get many, because it's just not one of those circuits. You've got to be really wide with the runs you get out of corners. But here, it started coming to my way a little bit. I knew I was pushing on quite hard, and I think Kieran started making mistakes slightly areas as well. So for me, I kind of there. See, he gets all the oversteer in the world, and he actually goes, and he actually lost a bit of time there. So that was the first sign of cracking. Because he was pushing really hard, but also he had some issues with his shoulder as well. Where his shoulder wasn't in the perfect state either, so he was really in pain for the race. So for him to have done a really good job is pretty exceptional. But once again here, we're doing a decent job right now, and it's just about trying to keep going and pushing on, and that's all I could do. I knew the pace was there, but I knew how quick Kieran was, and I knew how the threat was coming from behind, and just had to keep ploughing on. And this was the track that I said I felt might have been my undoing, and it kind of was hooked up by lap 23. Nothing happened in this race with some back markers in front of us. We got past those. It's a bit of a challenge at times. We just got to flash his lights at them, and they actually did get out of the way. With 17 more laps to go, it's all looking very dandy at this point. I made it half distance, and when I hit half distance, I was like, "Yeah, things are going our way. Things are working nicely. We weren't making any mistakes. We're just powering on with it and just doing our job." And we're quite far ahead of Kieran right now. I think he had a bit of a moment where he actually stood off the track and actually hit the wall. So he was struggling. I think he got a lot of damage on the gearbox, which meant he couldn't have the performance that he wanted in a straight line. But here, I'm flashing my lights at the one American. He's down in 7th place, who is one of our nearest rivals, and he's actually had a torrid time of things. So I'm flashing the lights at him, trying to get him out of the way. And he does eventually respond to that, and he does get out of the way there in the Porsche. So does a superb job of getting out of the way there. Respect to the back markers, because I know how hard it is to get out of the way. It isn't easy. And Mikko's now in front of us as well. He's going to be getting out of the way very soon as well. And again, for me, it was a good race. It was just, again, the perfect race. Pushing the lights on Mikko again, and he's in the BMW, and he does get out of the way here, so only some string with him. And that BMW does pull very well, so not easy to get past them, but they go into the highest. Passed very nicely indeed. And we're going on to the next lap. So yeah, there you go. The race is hooking up nicely. Things are going well for us. And the idea was to keep focused all the way through to the end, and that was all I could do. And cutting on later on into the race as well, it's at 28. Again, some more back markers coming up. We've got a back marker ahead of us, and we've got to try and get past. And yeah, you see how the night is coming in a little bit. It was lighter earlier. This race was actually at 8 o'clock, and it was on time progression was on 2 times 2. So obviously the actual is getting darker and darker and darker, which also means that there's less track temperature, and it's just, it's getting tires. It's not overheating as much. What I found in practice, when I was doing practice, was that I was getting a lot of overheating on the tyre, and here I wasn't getting an issue. The tyres were staying in nice working order, no issues whatsoever, and that was it really. We're getting a little bit of gearbox damage. We were just being careful with that, but I ran Rich throughout the whole race. I was pushing every single lap, and that's how much the bar was raised in this race by Kira, and he was really quick, and if I made a mistake, he would be right there with me, so I had to be careful. And we've got Cell PRT, he's going to be getting away there very generously as well, and then getting my way too much, and that was perfect, and we're going to jump away again for another 11 more laps in this race. So things, once again, as I said, it was hooking up nicely for me. Things were going my way, and all season we've kind of had luck. I mean, it's about time I had some luck. It's been a long time since I've actually won a decent amount of races in leagues, and by lap 32 again it's looking very good. We've got another back marker in front of us, who actually it's choked, I think his name, what it is, and he was pushing like that him, and he used to go very well, so he doesn't get in our way, and the back markers perform very well in this league. They don't get in your way. But yeah, I mean, the funny thing is about the season is that I actually haven't had a single pole yet, and that I don't know how. I got pole at Spa, but that race isn't counted, getting rerun at the end of the season, so yeah, I haven't actually had a single pole this season, and I felt like we got a pole at Algarve, didn't get it. Here, not really, because I didn't have the performance, and we actually hit the grass there a little bit slightly. And actually, Imola, we just didn't have the setup, really. So we've kind of not really got pole this season, which I'm very surprised about. I mean, obviously Spa we did, but it just didn't count, so for me, I'm just kind of searching for that first pole. I mean, I think on outright pace, I'm not the fastest, but in terms of just consistency, I think I'm right up there. That's what kind of helps me in these races, is just consistency. And my rival, which is my teammate, obviously that kind of comes into it a little bit, because we don't push each other over the track. If we weren't teammates, I think we'd be much more aggressive, and the battle would be different, which is the thing. But now here, lap 39, and once again, this is the last lap, coming on to the last lap of the race. And this race has been just thorough, very consistent throughout the whole race, and good lap times. The rain got worse, so we're just doing 32s, 31s, in and out that sort of gap, so low 32s and late 31s, and things just were working our way to the end of the race here, with a couple of minutes to go for this video. And I was very happy with this result. It was a superb result. I knew this was going to be the hardest race of the season for me, because the rain isn't ideal, and someone was spinning ahead of us with the back marker, who was spinning, and I knew this was going to be the hardest race of the season, because I think the rain comes and this track doesn't suit me, and the rain, the pad isn't great in the rain, because if you lose the car on the pad, it's hard to save it. With the wheel you can save it, and I knew how hard it was going to be, and came out with a win. I mean, I was happy to take a podium out of this race, and to come out with a win I was very happy with, unlike to my teammate, who just unfortunately made mistakes again, and they weren't his fault. It was the game's fault, and the game just had its issues right now, and obviously his shoulder, and he drove a really heroic drive to get second once again, and I think it's our second one through the season. And we're on a bit of a roll right now, me and him as the teammates. EV are doing us 2 virtual in tier 3, and it's continuing on here now. Maybe into the last corners for the last time in this race. And really, we're on a really good streak at the moment. I was just feeling around my traction settings, so I want to do some donuts at the end. We're heading to the last corner now for our last time, and it's been an absolutely fantastic race here. And we're coming to the line now, and we win 3 races in a row in AOR, and that I was very happy with, and what a place to do it at. And we got my first 2 race wins on Project Cars 2. We did it again in AOR, and that was superb. I was very happy with that result, and time for some donuts here in the race. And yeah, on to the next ones. Really, we've got Laguna Seca, Monza, and Spa as the last 3 races of the season. Obviously, we've got the Spa rerun at the end, and they're going to be interesting tracks. And we'll try. This championship going down to Hawaii. Still, it's not over yet. We've got a decent lead, but it's not over yet. We've got to keep pushing every single week. We can't take our eye off the ball. It's not what we do, and we need to keep pushing on every single week to be the best we can be. Because I know how competitive this field is. So, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like and subscribe for more racing content on this channel, and I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye, guys.